What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA show powered by FanDuel. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllNBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares, live from PHLY Studios here in Philadelphia. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler, who is in a hallway at his hotel. Legs, how you doing?
There's nothing better. There's no telling what might go by. If it's something good on a breakfast cart, I might grab some toast. I didn't get breakfast, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's about to happen up here. That's what makes this gig great, Adam. You never know what to expect when you're trying to constantly do shows on the road, man. But here it is. I'm doing the best I can.
But we're doing everything for our audience here because we had Summer League. You were working, man. You were working a lot of games, back to back out there in Las Vegas. But you got to see a handful of players, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of get your list today of guys. But first, just calling the games, we could hear your voice is a little shot here, man. This is players complain about back-to-backs. You did 4 back-to-backs.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Listen, calling a 2.5-hour NBA game where there's more frequent stoppages of play, whatever, that's challenging. 2.5 straight hours of talking, right? Afterwards, I always get something in my cold to drink after the game to soothe my throat. 4 straight hours, man, with only like a few minutes in between games and you're talking even more, I think, than a normal game, Adam, because a lot of these guys people aren't familiar with.
Right.
So there's two ways to go about it. You can mail it in, kind of just talk big picture stuff while all these guys are out there playing that are trying to impress somebody. I just can't do that, man, because I was in that boat at one time. I was a guy in LA Summer League trying to make a name for myself coming out of LaSalle undrafted. So I would hate for some guy to come in the game and, have his moment. And I'm like, don't know who he is, so I don't talk about it. So I did a lot of due diligence on these guys. But as a result, you're really talking a lot about more players than you ever would in the course of a 2.5-hour NBA game because everybody's familiar with those guys for the most part. You don't have to tell backstories on guys and things like that, So I swear, I think I was talking more in just 1 2-hour game in Summer League than I would in a 2.5-hour NBA game. And I did it back to back. So yeah, my voice at 4 nights in a row. So my voice is still a little strained. I haven't called a game since Sunday. So yes, I'm a little bit under my normal volume, but I'll try to project.
My voice is a little strained too from Vegas, but that was more screaming at the blackjack tables. So similar experience, just a little bit different. We got to talk about the players. So you were in one gym. You didn't get to watch everybody because you were in one gym watching the marquee games, to be honest, the late night marquee games. But a lot of guys came through, and so I asked you to make a list. The only guy I insisted was on the list is the guy we're going to start with because I think he's the talk of Summer League. Not necessarily because he was the best player, but because he's kind of the most interesting, at least to me personally, and that is Portland's Hansen Yang. He averaged 11.7 points, 4 rebounds, 3.3 assists in his 3 games, as well as 2 blocks, by the way. But you got a chance to watch him. Let's talk about him.
Yes, I had his very first game, and let me tell you something, man. It was an event. It was an event, even by Vegas standards. The biggest reaction that I saw in the entire time I was there, other than the first Cooper Flagg Bronny James game, which was packed. I mean, there was 1,000 people waiting outside to get in for that, and the reaction to everything Cooper Flagg did was. And look, you called him Hansen Yang, and we were calling him both Yang Hansun, Hansen Yang.
Yeah,
and then,
I've heard it both.
Well, so I ended up calling about after the first quarter. The Portland PR person was near the court, had him come over, and we were trying to get clarification. And he basically said, think of, Yao, and just call him by one name. So if you want to just call him Yang, that's good. So that's what I started calling him. I just started calling him Yang because he's got the one name. And you know what, man? He's good enough, I think, that he's going to be good with that, because he was first the build up to the game, the reaction to the crowd for everything the guy did. I mean, even when he's just stood up to go to the scores table, the reaction in the building was pretty incredible. And the amount of people that stayed after the game to just cheer him all the way off until he went to the locker room, even after he did post-game interviews, was really incredible. So does his game back it up? I think it does, man. This guy is, first of all, he's an elite passer. I mean, he absolutely understands where everybody is on the floor. He's very comfortable directing traffic, even though we were told there's somewhat of a language barrier still with him. I saw the guy catching the ball on these trails, and he immediately catch it at the top of the key as a trailer and start pointing directions and telling guys to cut and move and waving guys through and then running over. It was almost like he was coaching the team on the floor. Yeah. Now imagine how impressive that is. I believe he's 20 years old. 20 years old, Chinese player coming over here, his first taste of what this looks like, and he was clearly the leader of this team. It was like not even a question, the very first trip up the floor. So that's the first thing that jumps out. The guy's knowledge of the game, his passing ability, his lead, and just his spatial awareness of where everybody is was unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, that's my first note too, by the way. Literally on my notes here is that this is summer league. It's disorganized basketball. Even with point guards coming out, it's disorganized. It's a little bit like a pickup game. But he had Portland playing organized in the games that I watched with him. I mean, he really gets them going. And I like your point about pointing and you're the trail guy and now let's get everything going. That part, it's not a small thing. I mean, forget the language barrier, forget the center position, any of that. It's not an easy thing to get a team organized that just met each other. And the fact that he sees the court and has the confidence that he sees the court well enough to kind of get people moving to me is really impressive. And there's a handful of these Jokic acolytes, right? Şengün, Sabonis, guys that kind of play like him. He has more, those guys have good passing. He did seem to demonstrate a strong foundation of that, organizational, getting the team organized and really being like the point guard. Those other guys are good passing centers. He almost operated like a point guard or a point center like Jokic does.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Adam. As you know, I mean, there's a lot of guys in Vegas that are second-year players as well, right? Yep. And there's even guys that are more than that because whatever reason they've been bouncing around. There's 27, 28-year-olds in Vegas as well. But there's a lot of second-round players that were first-round picks last year or second-round picks last year. And a lot of those guys are bigs. And I'm telling you, Yang did that, what we're talking about, on a higher level than any of those guys that I saw. Yeah. So for me, to have the confidence to be able to do that, right? Because you're that sure that you know what's going on better maybe than other people. So you're going to point, direct, lead, and they encouraged him to do it. I was just impressed by that. The other thing that stood out to me right off the bat, his very first trip up the floor, he takes the contact to you. And that is really unique for a young, foreign-born big. Wing as well. But bigs typically, they're a little bit more passive and timid. And sometimes, you know, guys that played a year of college ball or they've been in the league for a year, you think you can maybe bully that guy a little bit, right? Get physical with him. Hit him in the chest when he's running down the floor and see how he reacts. That's typical to test guys that are coming into the league that are bigs. And he took the action to the bigs on the other team. He likes contact. In fact, he actually needs it because he uses the contact against you because he's really good at understanding like leverage and where the contact's coming from. He spins the opposite direction to create a passing lane. And he had a couple of plays in the game I called where he had like lightning quick spins, like catching the ball like midway up the lane and he'd catch it. And then as soon as the defender went to put his forearm into his back, he spun off. And one time he got all the way to the rim and scored. The other time he spun off, but then there was traffic coming along the baseline, so he picked it up to avoid the turnover and then fired a pass to the other side of the court. And I was just like, man, this guy this guy's maturity and awareness of what's going on, because the game is supposed to be faster. It's too fast. That's what everybody says. It's so much faster than what they were used to, their level of competition that all of these guys had before getting into this summer league. It didn't seem fast for him at all. He seemed like, no, I'm processing all. And he liked the contact. In fact, he got into a little bit of a skirmish in the game I called, which was really surprising. You don't see a lot of those in Vegas. He got into it a little bit and he ended up eating up all his fouls. You get 10 in summer league. I think he had 7 or 8. It felt like it. He was fouling everybody. But it's like, okay, it's fine. He'll adjust to that. The fact that he likes the contact as much as he did is a really good sign.
And then, he has good footwork. So your point about him, the leverage is, I love that, because that's such an important big man skill that not everybody has. And I'm not even sure how well you train a person on that. It's a little bit of feel and just kind of knowing body balance. But he had good footwork. Like, he had a move last night. He played last night against New Orleans. He had a nice little, dribble into the chest, fake right, and then go over the left shoulder. And so I think it's nothing like super dynamic, but it is enough. When you're that size, you don't need to be Hakeem Olajuwon with 20 different up fakes or what have you. You just need to be able to give a fake one way, go the other. And he seemed to have good footwork with that. But the big question for me, well, not big question, there's a bigger question, but one of the things that he demonstrated last night was his 3-point shot. And he made a bunch last night against New Orleans. You saw him take some shots. What do you see in his shooting form? And do you think this is a guy that could be a pick and pop, like true shooting threat?
No question, he's going to add that. He only took, I don't remember how many he took in the game we called. It was only a couple, if that. I remember one specifically he took right in front of like kind of where I was. I had a good angle on it. And it wasn't like I was in love with his hand placement on the ball or anything, but the touch is what's important, because the other stuff you will continue to evolve with. If you don't have an innate sense of depth perception to shoot a soft shot from that distance, none of that's going to matter. And I do believe some of that is you're born with that. Like I have changed a lot in my teaching, in my thinking about teaching shooting, because I used to think, oh, you could teach anybody how to be a better shooter. And now I realize that's not true. There is something internal that you have to have for depth awareness and an ability for your body to regulate that and adjust to that. And I think he has that, because the ball is soft, even if his hand placement isn't great. There's no doubt in my mind, as skilled as he is, he's never had to take a lot of 24-foot jump shots in his life. There's no question in my mind as he continues to work on that. And in the league we are in now, as you know, bigs are encouraged to shoot the shot. It's almost like if you can't shoot the shot, you're going to be extremely limited at the NBA level anymore for a big. It's like just running the floor and getting on the offensive glass, setting screens and diving, all that. There are some guys in the league that do that at a high level. But the guys that really stand out are the guys that can pick and pop, and you extend your ability to be a threat. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to become that from that distance. But the first thing that's going to jump out early in his career is his ability to play make, pass the ball, organize, and just make guys better, because he is a willing distributor. Like, he wants you to cut hard, and he's going to know you're open before you do, because of the way he can read what the defense is about to do on any sort of screening action. So that's going to be immediately beneficial to the team. The other stuff will come along a little bit slower.
Yeah, and the passing isn't just chest pass or bounce pass or whatever. He had a couple, he had to put an angle on it. He had to put a little spin or take a little sidestep to be able to make the angle for it. So it was really impressive. But here's the question now. So I love the guy. He was a lot of fun. I mean, he's going to be a popular player, I think, in the NBA just because he's so different. But I have one huge question, which is he really does not look fluid, in my opinion, in the open court or just at any type of his strides are a little bit awkward. He kind of has an awkward, movement there. And then his lateral quickness defensively is going to get tested a lot at this level. Are you as concerned as I am? As much as I love everything else, that weakness to me is one that I look at and I go, how much better can he get there?
Well, okay. I disagree a little bit about his fluidity offensively up the floor. I actually saw him handling the ball in the middle of the floor a few times, and he looked very comfortable doing it. I agree. He's not the most fluid runner. Like, his stride and doesn't look
Yeah.
super athletic in his straight ahead speed, but he's very comfortable handling the ball in the middle of the floor against
I
bigger
agree.
guys. I think the biggest challenge will be, of course, is going to be being attacked defensively, being put in ball screens. Um, he's so physical that he's careless and reckless with that a little bit. He's that they're going to have to tone that down. He's going to be in foul trouble every night. But yes, there's no doubt. I mean, look, all bigs I think are going to get attacked in this league defensively, and he's going to be singled out to a certain extent. He'll be singled out, and finding the right matchup for him so he's not hunted all the time on ball screen early on will be a challenge for Chauncey. But Chauncey Billups sat with us for an entire quarter of the game we were calling. And so he was giving us even more sort of backstory on his workouts and like the stuff they're seeing so far. And with the 16th pick, they could not be happier. There's a lot of guys. There's going to be a number of guys picked higher than him that he is going to have a better career than. I'll predict that right now. No question about that.
Well, he's going to be a popular player, I'll tell you that, because he's just so fun and so interesting. And by the way, that's what I mean, because I agree he's fluid with the ball, but that's at a certain speed. I just think about if I'm Derek Lively, every time I play that guy, I'm sprinting down court trying to get a steal. And then if I don't get it, I'm sprinting back up to the three-point line for a pick and roll. And just picturing him trying to keep up with that pace, to me, that's
right,
what I mean.
Let me just stop you there though for a second. I had this same exact concern, and I said it, and I was so sure of it about Zach Edey. And I said, there's no way Zach Edey is going to be able to change ends of the floor with the speed of these guys in the NBA. I was wrong. First of all, he leaned up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Young, but Edey leaned up, and they said, because I called a game early in the year, and I was blown away by Edey's ability to change ends of the floor. And I talked to Taylor Jenkins about this, and he said, yeah, man, that's what these teams have now. They have guys that are performance guys that's all the stuff they're working on. So all of that stuff, he'll be working on a daily basis with the staff in Portland to get better at it. And if a guy as big and lumbering as Edey can look as agile as he did this year, where the point where you're like, okay, he can keep up. It's not like you can keep him out there for 34 minutes a night, but for the minutes he's going to play, and there's going to be matchups, you're going to put him on the floor because it's favorable for Portland, because there's going to be guys that the other team will have as a backup center that can't guard him, and you're going to take advantage of that. So I think it's going to be better than maybe we think it's going to be, because I think there's more ability to improve those kinds of things now than there ever was before. And there are certain things that they're going to have an advantage because of because he's a far more skilled player than Zach Edey. I mean, there's no comparison. And look at the year that Edey had. He had an impactful year for them. And so I think Young is going to be just fine, man. I think in the long run, his skill will be ultimately what overcomes.
Let's move on to Dylan Harper now. The Spurs, he averaged 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists over his 2 games. I think the 2 things that stand out to me, one, he gets to his spots. That's what he was known for. He knows how to get to spots on the floor, including in the paint in Summer League. But he has a mature demeanor to him. You know, a lot of guys get sped up in Summer League and it becomes chaos ball. I thought he has a tempo he can play that's both slowed down mentally, but still can be quick, getting to his spots. That's what stood out to me. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that definitely stood out. He's got great size, first of all. And he can, because of the size, he doesn't have to play a certain way all the time. Like, he doesn't have to be super quick and shifty to get ball pressure off of him. If he wants to, he can just turn and put you on his back, put you on his hip, because he's big enough that he can now just kind of control the ball that way, see the floor, make plays. So the size combination, the Cade Cunningham comparison we've been hearing, I don't think that's a bad one at all. I really think that's a good comparison. The thing that impressed me about him, he's got full release on his deep shot. He had a couple really nice where he went hard, stopped on a dime shot, pull up 15-footers. He can accelerate in the open floor like more athletically than I thought he could. Because I didn't see him really play last year. I saw a lot of film on him leading up to Summer League. But I saw a burst with the naked eye sitting courtside where he could now be running next to a guy with the ball, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's 5 feet ahead of him. because he can accelerate like that. And then he had a defensive play, man, where he had a block shot
A block,
where he
yeah.
came from the weak side, where he hit the ball in the replay. The ball was at the top of the square when he
Wow.
blocked that shot. I mean, his head was just below the rim. And that was off of a defense, like 2 quick steps go up. So I don't know, man. I was very impressed. He didn't have a great shooting night, the game we called, but and it was the Cooper Flagg game. He was playing against Cooper Flagg, and Cooper Flagg was sensational in that game. So he sort of, he won that battle in terms of just elite offense. But Dylan Harper absolutely, to me, solidified why he was the number 2 pick in the draft.
The Cade comparison is interesting because I would agree with it in that Cade always feels like he's in control. He doesn't ever feel like pressured. That's one of his big traits. And Dylan Harper, I think, has that. But do you see similar playmaking in the other parts of Cade's game, or were you just comparing the demeanor?
More like, for me, it's more about the control, the size.
Yeah.
They're similar with their length.
Similar bodies.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's hard to say because I did see Cade Cunningham a few times last year. And the defense, it was the playoffs, and it's like the defense was so physical in that Knicks series. It was so hard to like turn a corner, get downhill unimpeded. But I almost felt like there was a burst from Dylan Harper from ball screen to rim that was maybe even a little bit quicker than Cade. But look, and Cade's, I think, more of a easy, natural scorer. Like he just has that tempo and rhythm to him about his scoring. He knows exactly what he's going to do. I think at this stage, though, I think it's a very solid comparison. And if you're San Antonio, that should be what you're hoping you get with the 2 pick. I mean, you don't want to get the 2 pick and think of he's a nice player. 2 pick, you want a franchise level guard. And I think Dylan Harper has an opportunity down the road in a few years, I think, to answer that question as they check that box, and they got one.
Yeah, well, Spurs have had a nice little summer league and a nice, there's some excitement, I think, coming for them. We're going to talk about another one of their guys here later on, but let's take our first break. So those were the 2 guys we wanted to do a little bit more on, but on the other side, Legs made a list of guys, and I'm going to be honest, Legs, none of these guys, well, one of them was on my list. The rest of them, I'm very curious to hear why they stood out to you most. We'll get to them on the other side. First, FanDuel, the best place to find all your favorite player props. And now you can make the same smarter play with new performance trends. Want to see if a guy's been hitting that over consistently? Or maybe you've been flirting with a potential triple-double? Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, that's when things get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. And if you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, just visit FanDuel.com/AllNBA to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Also want to tell you guys about Monarch Money. Finances can be messy and confusing. Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app, although it does that as well, and it does it remarkably well, where you can put in exactly what you're spending every month, find out trends so that you can alter what you're spending and say, hey, I'm spending too much over here. This is an area I can save on. It's also a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. If you have different things and a bunch of different accounts, a bunch of different investments you want to track, and it's hard to do because you have to open up this site, and this site, Monarch Money makes everything simple because it puts everything in the same place. So you can kind of compare how your investments are doing, your different ones, and you can track them and notice when things are going awry. So don't just manage your money, start building wealth with 50% off of your first year for our listeners. I always tell people not only the budgeting app, but it also helps you see if you're spending things that you didn't realize you were spending money on. I had that when they launched this with me. It was one of the things I found out was, hey, I didn't realize I was wasting this amount of money this month. Let me move that over and start saving. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code ALLNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at monarchmoney.com with code ALLNBA. All right, back here, segment 2 of the All NBA show. We're talking Summer League standouts. Throw us a like if you're enjoying the talk on Hansen Yang, Dylan Harper. But now we're going to move into some other guys. And the first one we have is Tre Johnson out of Washington, 19.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 45.5% from 3 on pretty good volume. And I'm guessing it's that 3-point shot that has him on your list, Legs.
And so now let me ask you something. Was he one of the guys you're surprised about that I want to talk about?
He is. Yes. I mean, I'm not super surprised, but it was a guy that I didn't mark down.
6th pick in the draft, and the most natural scorer I saw in Vegas. He for a 19-year-old to be that good offensively in every imaginable way as a scorer, they got themselves an absolute stud. He's going to be lighting it up in the NBA with big numbers within a few years. But I think even this year, immediately, and we were talking with Will Dawkins and Brian Keefe. Actually, we had both of those guys on at different times talking about their team because they had 7 first-round picks over the last 2 years in Summer League. 7. Okay, so and some of those guys were their own players. Some were guys that were first-round picks for other teams that were on their roster through trades or whatever. So they had 7 guys. So we were talking to them, and it was like, oh, we're going to take it slow with Tre, and everything. Well, no rush here, which is true of a 19-year-old. But as soon as they left, Mark Jones and I kind of looked at each other, and we started continuing the conversation. We're like, it's not going to be too long. He's going to be out there. I don't know if he's going to start, right away, but there's no question in my mind that he's going to play big minutes early and eventually probably will start because I think he's the most natural scorer they have on their roster. He is just flat out as smooth as can be. He was labeled as the best shooter in the draft, maybe along with Con Knipple coming into the draft. He's way more than a shooter. He can create his own offense anytime he wants against anybody. Tight windows, good size. He's got mid-range. He's got the deep shot, very athletic when he turns the corner. So I just thought this guy is going to be scoring at a high level in the NBA for a very long time.
You called it natural. I think that some guys scoring just comes easy to them, like the movements of scoring come easy, and that's what it looks like. I mean, there is almost a little Devin Booker to his game. Like Devin Booker has a smooth, like everything looks like it's just effortless to him. He has a little bit of that to him. But yeah, his shooting stroke to me, it's one of those ones where he's going to be one of these guys where I feel like it's going in. Every time he elevates, I'll be like, that looks good. It looks on balance. Here's one that surprised me. Go ahead. Do you have one more thing on Tre Johnson?
No, all I was going to say was, yeah, you're right about that. He's one of those guys. It looks the same way every time, every single time comes off his fingertips. It looks the same arc, same rotation. And so, yes, it's going to lend itself to making shots at the next level at a high rate, especially when the floor is more opened up. He's playing with better players, like at the NBA level, guys that can get him shots. He's a force, man. He's an absolute weapon.
So here's the first surprise for me, and it's a big surprise. You had Drew Timme on here. 25.5 points, 8 rebounds. So, I mean, wasn't that he wasn't playing good. I'm just surprised that he made your list.
Well, look, I don't know what's going to happen with Drew Timme going forward. He got a taste of it last year at the NBA level, and he played well in the minutes that he got. I don't know what his ultimate upside is. All I know was he was dominating the competition. And look, he's an older guy, and he's not as old as I thought. It felt like Drew Timme played in college for a decade. I mean, didn't it? Every year you'd see Gonzaga, and you're like, Drew Timme is still playing college basketball? Like, you couldn't believe it. So I think he's 24. I felt like he was old. It felt like he was out of school
Wow.
longer than that, and he was overseas for. I swear, if you'd told me he was 29, I would have probably believed you. He's only
I'm
24
with
years
you.
old,
24 is surprising.
but he looks more mature than that. He's got the beard and everything, and he wears the headband, so you're thinking like this guy should be at a men's league somewhere. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it was so easy for him what he was doing to these guys, and much, much more athletic, like bigger guys had no chance against him. His understanding of the game is so much of a higher level. He's very strong, even though he's not one of those guys that's like ripped, but he is very strong. He moves people around as easily as he wants to, and he's just got a great feel. So, like, you can put him in any situation, and he's just one of those guys. He's never going to be overwhelmed by who he's playing against because he's got such a great feel for the game and great instincts, and he's highly skilled, man. He can step out and shoot it. He can slash. He got stuff in transition where he finished over bigger people. I was just impressed because it looked so easy for him. And like, again, look, he has limitations. So it's not like he's going to go become an all-star at the NBA level, but can he be a rotational player on a solid team in the NBA? I think he can. And I didn't think that before this summer league.
Well, another guy kind of similar, I guess, in some way, Cole Swider with the Lakers, been in the G League a little bit, 20 points a game, 8 rebounds, but his jumper also looks pure and balanced. And I'm guessing that's why he made the list. He had a couple big time shooting performances, and that was another one of those guys with a very repeatable. I was trying to think of who he reminded me of because he would have a lot of those just like exit screens where he'd have to get out quickly, turn his body and shoot, and just would get balanced on those shots.
That's exactly what I was going to say about the shots he was getting. He sets a lot of ghost screens and then quickly gets out of it, and he's turning his body as he's getting to the spot to shoot it. So his ability to turn his body to the point where both hips are forward on the catch, and he's catching it with his knees. I always teach players, like, go from down to up, right? Low to high. You don't want to catch it high where now you've got to bend. You want to be low on the catch. So he could set the go screen, spin out, get his shoulders and hips forward, and get his knees bent. So when it hit his hands, all he did was go off the floor and let it go. And so his catch release was as quick as anybody I saw in Vegas. He gets it off, and he's got good size. I'm not sure what they listed him at. I think he looks like he's about 6'7", 6'8", maybe. So he's got good size. Look, and I don't know if there's a role for him with the Lakers. I mean, Dalton Connect had a hard time, for goodness sakes, getting consistent minutes with the Lakers, right? They almost traded him. So was up for player of the year in the SEC. So, like, I don't know what this is going to lead to. All I can tell you is guys that shoot the ball like that, to get it off that quickly, that effortlessly, typically it's hard for coaches to ignore that. And so I think he's going to find a role.
If you don't know who he is, go check out his highlights because it is just a pretty jumper. It's one of those guys, if you just watched him shoot 3 after 3, you'd be like, man, that's a really, really pretty looking jump
Adam,
shot.
Real quick, I just want to say something. People need to understand, most of these guys in Vegas, like, he was not auditioning for the Lakers. He's auditioning for the whole league. And it's important to know that. So beauty is going to be in the eye of the beholder. And when you look at, like, who you have and what your personnel is, when you see a guy with good size that gets his shot off that quickly, that easily, and that consistently, it's something that I think teams, you're going to take note of, man. Like, I don't know if he makes the team or not, but I think somebody opened their eyes to him out there that's going to have him in camp with an honest, legitimate opportunity to make a team. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But he shot the ball as well as anybody out there.
Well, another guy that fits that exactly what you're talking about, although I think the Spurs are going to end up hanging on to him, is David Jones Garcia. 24 points per game, 24.3 points per game for David Jones Garcia. A guy, two-way, going to probably be in Austin, whatever. Man, this guy was the leading scorer in almost every game he played. Even coming off the bench, he was putting up big points. How did he do it, Legs?
All right, so listen, first of all, I saw I didn't get a chance to see David Jones Garcia until I was coming out to Vegas. I knew I had their game on day 2. And so, of course, they had already played in the California League, I think it was, before they came to Vegas. They
Right.
played 3 games out there. So that was where I got my film work on a lot of their summer league roster, was from those games. And I immediately was like, oh my God, like, who is this guy? Like, I know he'd played in Memphis, but I didn't see a lot of his college games. So right off the bat, coming into Vegas, I'm like, this guy, I already had him written down. This is somebody I can't wait to see. Get his game, first possession of the game, he catches the ball. He does a quick crossover move, like back and forth, turns the corner, goes, lays it in. And I said on the air, we're 15 seconds into the game. And I turned to my partner, Mark Jones, and I said, well, I'm going to make a prediction right now. He's going to lead Summer League in scoring. Just mark it down. Because already. And as it turns out,
legs from the logo, man, with that take.
This guy, and I don't know if they shut him down already, because I left Vegas. I did 4 days. I saw 2 of their games, called 2 of their games. I moved on. I'm in LA right now. So I'm guessing he got shut down.
I don't know. I don't know if he's shut down yet. If he is, a lot of times guys will play 3 games and then get shut down.
Maybe he's going to play again. Maybe not. I don't know. And I don't know. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen with San Antonio. It's a 2-way with them. I'm telling you right now, Adam, this dude absolutely is an NBA-ready rotational guard right now. And I'm not just talking about with San Antonio. I'm not just talking about with San Antonio. I'm talking about, I could probably list 15 teams. I know who's in the league. I know what these teams have as their 4th and 5th guards on some of these rosters. And I'm telling you right now, this dude can flat out score at any level. They list him at 6'5" or 6'6". He didn't look that big to me.
I was going to say he looks small.
But then after the game, I was walking on the court. And he was kind of still out there, and I was like, okay. I guess he is about 6'5". From his elbows to his fingertips, he's as strong as any guy I saw out there. He'll take the ball like this, right in front of your chest with 2 hands, right in front of a defender to rake through. And guys were like hitting his forearm, hitting the ball was not moving. And now his first swing through step is go. And he's got an unbelievable, like, accelerate, stop, back up a step into his 3-point shot. Finishes in the paint. As you could tell, obviously, I'm very giddy about this guy, because I'm telling you right now, David Jones Garcia can score. If you put him in an NBA game next year, I don't care who he's playing with. You give him 18, 20 minutes, the dude's going to get double figures. He can flat out score from anywhere on the floor. He was, for me, the biggest revelation of the entire summer league.
As a shooting expert, he has a little bit of a sideways shot, not a lot, not like, you see some of the guys in the league complete side, but he has a little bit where he's turned to the side. And it's almost like Michael Beasley had this, Isaiah Thomas had this. Sometimes you're good ISO scorers. It almost helps them because they're doing these moves. They get you on the hip and they don't have to square their shoulders the way most people do. They kind of go into their shooting motion from the side. And he has that to his game as well.
Yeah, you think it's not like you watch him shoot and you're like, oh, okay, that's not a classic release. And I wouldn't describe it that way. But I'm telling you right now, everything up until the point of it coming off his hand is not a classic. From that point on, though, if you just like had videotape and all you could see was his hand and the basketball and you didn't know who that was, you'd go, man, look at that thing. Comes off. Yeah. It is spinning. I mean, he's got serious spin on that basketball. But more than anything, it's just all right, I'm going to give you one last story because Mark Jones told this story on the air. So apparently he's been down in Miami working out. And Mark Jones went to some of these workouts. And he was out there with other NBA guards, and I won't say their names right now. And Mark Jones said, you couldn't tell who was who. And I'm talking about guys that have already put up numbers in the NBA. And they're playing one-on-one in like a game of what we call Rise and Shine. It's a popular one-on-one NBA summer workout game where you got to get a stop to get the ball. It's kind of how it works. And he said, you couldn't tell who was who in terms of NBA experience or not with David Jones Garcia. So it's effortless. So I'm really excited about what happens with him going forward. Look, you already have, obviously, De'Aaron Fox. You got Stephon Castle. You got Dylan Harper. All right, you got a lot of guard talent there in San Antonio. I don't know what happens with him there, but he's got a future in the NBA. It's a matter of time before he finds the right spot to get playing time, and then you could shut it down. He's going to be in the league for like the next decade.
There's always one of these guys like who doesn't have a contract, goes to summer league trying to make a name, and then really stands out. Kenrich Williams has done this. Terrence Davis has done. There's always a guy, and this year it's definitely David Jones Garcia, who, to your point, goes from we're going to give him a two-way, stick him in the G League, to some team is going to take this guy and make him a player. The last guy we have on our list is Ryan Nembhard with Dallas, brother of Andrew Nembhard, 11 points, 6.5 assists. To me, he looks, both in the face but also in the movements, exactly like his brother. They have the same moves. They do the same stuff. He's just a lot smaller. I mean, that's one of the things about him is he's pretty undersized. Yeah. But he stood out as well to you.
Yeah, he should probably be upset. Something happened genetically. He didn't get that extra 5 inches or whatever that his brother has, because he's only 6 feet tall. You are so right, man. It's literally like watching a miniaturized version of his brother. They play exactly the same way. So first game, he was fantastic. He had 21 points the night that against the Lakers, and Cooper Flagg really struggled, went 5 for 21. Nembhard was their best player in that game. He just looked like totally like he belongs and runs a team. Great passer, great change of pace, picks up three-quarter court just like his brother does. So stood out. Now the second game he struggled. He was 1 for 10 shooting. I did that game as well. And then I don't know what he did in the third game, but I saw enough to know that I'm super impressed with him. And I think, who he reminded me of, who kind of caught my eye last year in Vegas. And I made some predictions about him over the summer. And if you recall, I think on our show before the season started, I was talking about Scottie Pippen Jr.
Oh, yes. That was your guy before the season.
And it started with what I saw in Vegas. And look at the year that Scottie Pippen Jr. had, right, for Memphis, man. I mean, he's good now. He's going to be in the NBA a long time. And he did some really good things for them. I feel it the same way about Nembhard. I saw some of that in him, disruptive defensively, like just a pest, always around the ball and pressuring the ball. Offensively, like quickly getting outlet passes and getting it off the floor before the defense was set to create offense for other people. So he was very, very impressive. And I don't know what it leads to this year, but I think he's got a future.
One move, because the movements, like Andrew Nembhard has, I mean, I call them weird. They're unique moves. They're moves that only he does, or at least the way it looks. He makes it look a certain way. And one of them that he does that I saw his brother do, Ryan Nembhard, do it in the summer league, was you come off of a pick and roll, and usually you'll pick the ball up, gather left, right, go into a shot. It's almost like he comes around the corner, takes an extra couple steps before he gathers the ball just to give him an extra bit, but then stops abruptly. I don't know if you know the type of move I'm talking about, but Andrew Nembhard does it a lot. And it looks like he's going to go to the rim, and then all of a sudden he stops and pops. And it's just a very unique way to gather the ball to give you an extra step in there.
Yeah, it was cool too to see his brother at both games I did, sitting there supporting him, man. So, but it's funny you said what you said, because that's the first thing I thought too. Like he was 5 minutes in, and I'm like, I'm watching Andrew Nembhard right now. Like that's what I'm looking at. He's just a little bit smaller version of it. So yeah, man, he had a impressive first few games. It's interesting because I'm so glad, and I got to work the beginning, because now guys are starting to get shut down, right? As you get into it, I'm so grateful. Listen, Cooper Flagg's first game, right? We all know the Laker game. He was 5 for 21, did not play. He played 31 minutes. I don't ever recall a number one pick playing 17 out of the 20 minutes in the first half of a summer league game. And he followed up with 14 in the second half. So he played 31 minutes that night, did not play particularly well offensively. I actually made some comments where the ball was coming off his hand. It was coming off his pinky repeatedly and with sideways rotation. I didn't like the way that looked. He came back, he had a phenomenal game against San Antonio. He had 31 points in that game, did a little bit of everything, and they did shut him down. So I was very glad that I got to see him a second time before they made that. Because we've seen it, Adam, where guys have played one game and they're done. You know, and so I didn't know what was going to happen on that Saturday afternoon game, which was a high-profile game against the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper. Cooper did play, and you know, he acquitted himself well. So a lot of these guys now are done. If you've showed out, certainly if you're a high pick and you've showed out or whatever, you're done. They're going to shut it down now. It's a different mentality. I was disappointed in some guys I didn't see real quick before we go. I'm mad because I did not see Edgecombe. I did not see Ace Bailey or Walter Clayton Jr. when I did the Utah game. So I was very disappointed because I really wanted to see both of those guys. So it is what it is. Different guys, different organizations treat things differently. All in all, though, it was a great experience, man. It's always awesome to be in Vegas. Saw you briefly. We didn't get a chance to spend much time together, but it was a great experience. Now I'm here out in LA, and I'm looking for a fun night tonight, going to the ESPYs tonight. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, cue that outro music there, James. We were all lucky because I enjoyed you on the call as well. You know, some of them I was at the gym for. Other ones I ended up having to watch to prep for the show. And I was like, you know what? It's nice having Legs' commentary on these guys. And to your point, you're explaining even more in the Summer League because the audience needs more explanation in the Summer League. So it made for a really cool experience. Legs, get out of the hallway, man. Go back to the hotel room. Go back to the family. You're a good trooper for making this happen today.
I need a few more towels. A few more towels, please. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Talking to the maid going by. Sorry about
that. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button. We had a great video on Cooper Flagg. If you missed that one from last week, it's a very short one, about 10 minutes long, but it's really neat. And Legs did a really cool demonstration of what he's seeing in his jump shot. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be back again on Friday. Everybody hit that like button on the way out.
All silly like the mayor.